Welcome back. This is National Police Week. It comes as policing is now a hot topic in Washington and maybe on your kitchen table, with parties on both sides pushing for reform. But is anyone asking law enforcement what would make their jobs more effective, make it easier, better, before reform is thrust upon them from Washington? So we did, with an exclusive look at the methods and the myths behind policing in 2021 from the lens of the actual officers. You know, the first responders that you see, the bad guys who save lives. You know, they get stabbed sometimes, they get shot sometimes, and even deliver babies before an ambulance arrives, like these officers did in Nassau County, New York, just a few days ago. Here is their perspective.
Every time I pull somebody over, you don't know what you're walking up against.
May I see a license, registration, insurance, please?
I cannot see who I'm pulling over until I actually walk up onto the side of their window.
Guy could be wanted for murder, could have guns in the car.
In these road conditions with the rain, we'd like to see you go a little slower. All right, thank you so much. Have a good day. He was cooperative, he was cordial, he understood everything I was saying, and you know, I just decided to give him a warning.
That goes a long way, right?
Oh yeah,
Attitude
absolutely.
is everything.
Courtesy is contagious.
Commissioner, police officers often say the most dangerous thing they do is a car stop.
There is no such thing as a routine car stop. And you've heard it around the country, they want to have unarmed car stops that are conducted.
With social workers.
With social workers. This is the most dangerous job, whether it's the traffic that's driving by you or whether it's the individual inside that car, the person you're going to encounter on the street. This call that we're going to handle now is going to simulate it by two officers standing behind doors of a police car. The call comes out for a suspicious male. He attempted to be burglarizing a house, and he may have a weapon on him.
That's the kind of police stop. Sir, leave me alone. Sir, leave me alone. Sir, get on the ground.
When you saw the gun, the training says fire.
Absolutely.
Sometimes they could have something else in their hand.
They're trained to look for a weapon.
Right.
You turn with a weapon, whether it's a fake weapon or a real weapon, there's a good chance you're going to get shot. We train to stop threats. We don't shoot to kill. I've heard too many times on TV. In this scenario, the officers handled it perfectly.
Right. So this is the story at 2 in the afternoon. Can you give me the same scenario at 2 in the morning?
We can do that. Dim the lights.
Nassau County Police, stop. Sir, Nassau County Police, stop. Get on the ground. Nassau County.
So much tougher at night.
Yeah, the environment changes. When the environment changes, it's dark, you don't get to see that weapon just as fast. In this scenario that you're going to see, the individual's got a knife. We have distance, we have time, we have control that we were able to pull the taser out. Many times the taser don't work. If both prongs don't hit, it does not run the current through them to stun the person.
Sir, you've been asked several times to drop the knife. Drop the knife.
No!
Taser, taser,
No!
taser.
So what you've seen, and you see how fast he's able to get back up. That taser, we can press the taser again and send more current back into him.
How do you feel now?
I feel great now. I mean, I could have ran at him, fought with him, keep fighting with these guys. I lost complete control of my left leg.
So often you hear about, we don't want to see military equipment and surplus equipment on the street. It gives the wrong message to the communities. I look at this vehicle, and although it's built for a different cause, it looks like something that might be under scrutiny from Washington when they talk about police reform.
This is what we call a Bearcat. We purchased this. This is like a bulletproof ambulance. It can bring my men and women safely into an environment of an active shooter, and then take those victims out from that same environment.
You just had something where you needed this vehicle at the Stop and Shop. That made national news. You were able to bring a suspect in alive.
That vehicle was on the scene in front. If the individual started to shoot from the window and hit somebody, this vehicle is going to get them out safely. It's not used often, but when it's needed, it's there for us.
As we see this cell phone video and we see this, the body camera video, what is it like, guys, on the street like that, as we see scenarios where you're wrestling around and non-compliant suspects?
It's a challenging time policing right now. You want to do your job out there and get the bad guy off the street, but at the same time, as you said, everyone's videotaping it, and Monday morning quarterbacking is something that is almost deterring us from deploying the different moves and techniques that we've been taught.
If qualified immunity disappeared tomorrow, you now have to wonder, will you have a home to go to at the end of the week? Or are we going to be losing our homes and losing everything that we have and everything we built up?
It's a challenging time. It really is, because we all took the job to do the right thing, and that's to help the community. And now, once everyone's watching it on the news, it's making you second guess every decision you make.
Special thanks to Nassau County Police, especially their version of SWAT, for helping us out and give us an understanding how hard they train to make sure everything comes out right. And sometimes you do everything right and it comes out wrong, and we see a lot of that. Joining us now, a man who knows all this. He's been studying this hot and heavy for over a year. Republican Senator from South Carolina, Tim Scott. Senator, we want to give people a perspective from the police officer. We know you're talking about police reform. What should they know about what you're working on?
Well, Brian, first thing we should say is thank God for people who put on the uniform. This is National Police Week, so there's no better time for us to say thank you to an officer. So when you see an officer around your neighborhoods, around the streets, please stop and say thank you to those officers. Two of my brothers from another mother, my mentors, kids, both are deputies, and so it's really important for us to take that time. What they should know about what we're doing in Congress is taking first into consideration the important work that they do and making sure that we keep our officers safe. If you want communities to be safe, you have to have officers who are not thinking about their personal liability or their assets as they run into harm's way. That is one of the reasons why, for qualified immunity, I have been for the last year open for putting more of the onus on the municipalities, on the counties, on the state, and taking it off of the officers. That, to me, is the way that we continue to tell the officers that we need them going into harm's way without having to have an additional level of exposure from a liability perspective.
Senator, crime's going through the roof all across the country, and academies are emptying out, and their people are retiring rapidly. You're going to see a massive exodus in June here because of the overtime. They try to leave with the most overtime to retire with the most money. On May 25th, the Democrats said they want to see something. Some of the things that you talked to me about: qualified immunity. You talk about suing the precinct, not the person. You talk about the no-knock warrants, and you talk about the no chokeholds. What else should police officers and the citizens think that you're going to know that you're going to be talking about with Democrats?
Well, you mentioned two other issues. Number one, one that is really important is that Section 242, which is making it easier. They're looking to lower that threshold. I've said that is a no-go for me. Section 242 is a criminal element in police reform. I am not interested in that whatsoever. The other one is what you just mentioned about having the right equipment. That Section 1033 is the military equipment that can go to police offices. I think it's important for us, having run a county with a sheriff's department myself previously, it's really important for us to make sure they have the tools necessary. There's a list that's already been banned, and re-establishing that same list is fine with me, but having that MRAP or those pieces of equipment or vehicles that bring officers safely into harm's way to get them and the other innocent folks out of harm's way is something that I completely support and will continue to support. So those are really the top 5 issues. You just named them that we're working on. And then the devil's in the detail. We need to read every line, every letter, every word to make sure that there's not something sneaking in the back door. I'd rather have no deal than a bad deal.
I hear you. 2 things. Training. Smaller stations, smaller precincts don't have the money, and they got to pay them more. And if you want federal money, help on both those things. Number 2, when people say defund the police, and we know this, Democrats and the squad members keep saying it, reimagining, getting rid of, they're irreconcilable. What are you going to do about that sentiment, Senator? Can you deal with that?
Well, the way I deal with defund the police is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my whole life. Having lived in grew up in a single-parent household in poverty, we always want police officers around when necessary, especially to keep our moms safe. So that's really important. So that is off the table, for my opinion. And we need to provide more resources, more money. Bottom line, when I say resources, I mean money coming into especially our smaller departments and even our mid-sized departments, so that the training to intervene and the training on de-escalation, all those training dollars are incredibly important. We don't need less money for the police. We need more.
Keep your eye on this. I know you're used to nothing getting done in Washington, but Senator Tim Scott's different, and I think if anyone can do it, you can do it. Senator, thanks so much.
Thanks. Have a good day.
All right.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.